Topping today's news, the Minister of Tourism says the industry is booming. The Ministry of Education releasing the BGCSE and BJC results. The National Insurance Board Managers Union signs a 5-year contract. Life with Key residents apprehensive about a proposed new condo complex in the gated community, and residents of the Domes on Abaco get an extension against eviction. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. Thanks for joining us. We have exceeded pre-pandemic numbers. This coming from Tourism, Investments and Aviation Minister, Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper, as he gave an update on the tourism numbers here in the country. The Deputy Prime Minister adding that the Caribbean has rebounded faster than the rest of the world.
You start looking at May 2023, which is typically 2022, which is typically a slow month. We have exceeded pre-pandemic numbers in May, and the numbers continue to be very strong for June and July and August. So we're back. We've rebounded significantly. We've rebounded faster than the rest of the Caribbean. And I keep saying that the Caribbean has rebounded faster than the rest of the world. So we're very happy. There is the pent-up demand, there is the COVID fatigue, but we have had great strategies to send a signal to the world that we're open for business. We've launched many new events and initiatives, and our tourism offices in the US and Canada, around the world, have really done a splendid job at marketing our country and positioning our product.
Not only are the tourism numbers strong, the cruise business is also thriving, and the vendors are happy.
Not only have we returned in terms of numbers of visitors, but the room rates are also up. Our cruise business is also booming. We anticipate that we are going to attract 5 million cruise visitors this year. Each day you look at the Nassau Cruise Port, you can see 5 or 6 ships in the harbor. This is good. We see evidence of what's happening in the industry on the street. The vendors are exceedingly happy. And this trend is not just happening in Nassau, but across the country, including Grand Bahama.
The tourism minister noting that because of the success of tourism and the number of visitors coming to the Bahamas, the only problem now is the need for more properties that offer rooms. Deputy Prime Minister Cooper says the country's accommodations are at capacity.
Most importantly, though, we're seeing many of our properties that's been shuttered looking to reopen. We're seeing Club Med opening in San Salvador. That's going to happen in October. The Hilton's going to come back on stream. There's conversations with Melia. We need the room capacity. We have outstripped our capacity. So we're bringing more LF. The issue now is where the people are going to stay. So we're looking forward to new product.
Deputy Prime Minister Cooper says he hopes the opening and reopening of properties will be able to accommodate the growing number of visitors. With the Bahamas being in the top 10 Caribbean nations that have experienced skyrocketing prices as a result of a 40-year high inflation rate, a majority or a major increase since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, many worry that investment prospects may look elsewhere. However, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation Chester Cooper believes that while the country has attracted over $3 billion in investments, inflation is something the government must watch closely.
I think it's something we have to keep our eyes on for the future. There are extenuating circumstances not within our control, driven mainly by what's happening in global markets, the war, global inflation, etc. It certainly drives up the cost of construction. It slows down construction, and time is money in development business. So yes, it's an area of concern, but most of our developers are sophisticated developers, and we see no slowdown in the level of interest in our country, the level of investments, and importantly, we see shovel going in the ground.
Minister Cooper says as of right now, the government is happy with the trends and they will continue to make investment processes faster and more transparent while continuing to use ambassadors to send the message that the Bahamas is a top-notch place for investments. Meanwhile, Cat Island is poised to have its first Bahamas tourist office, and just in time for the island's first Goombay Summer Festival. Member of Parliament for Cat Island, Prime Minister Philip Davis, was expected to open the new Bahamas Tourist Office, or BTO, this afternoon in New Bight, Cat Island. This move will enhance the island's tourism product and maximize the economic prospects of the industry. Prime Minister Davis led a delegation, including Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Tourism, Chester Cooper, to the island for the commissioning ceremony. Following the ceremony, Cat Island will officially host its first Goombay Summer Festival. The 2022 national examination results are out, and despite challenges faced by students due to the COVID-19 pandemic, performances on the Bahamas Junior Certificate, or BJC, and the Bahamas General Certificate of Secondary Education, BGCSE, has seen some improvements. During a press conference at the Ministry of Education, Technical and Vocational Training to reveal this year's long-anticipated results, Director of Education Marcellus Taylor said this year, 9,571 candidates across the Bahamas sat the BJCs, an increase of 22 candidates over last year. Now some 4,906 students sat the BGCSEs, a decrease of 241 when compared to last year. Among those candidates, 633 received C or higher in 5 or more subjects. 392, or 8% of the candidates, received at least a C in math, English, and science. The education director noting that students in Grand Bahama and Abaco were among those making improvements, adding that, similar to last year, females took the lead in this year's examinations. Director Taylor says more than 50% of grades awarded to candidates were in the A to C range. And finally, in this segment, after 26 months of negotiations, members of the National Insurance Board of Directors, the National Insurance Board's executive management team, and officials of the Public Managers Union successfully concluded negotiations on a new industrial agreement for the manager's staff at the National Insurance Board, with the signing of a new 5-year agreement. The signing took place Wednesday at the Clifford Darling Complex. Officials from both sides classified the negotiations and subsequent agreement as amicable and in the best interest of all parties, including employees, the National Insurance Board, and the National Insurance Fund. Board Chairman Philip McKenzie was the principal signatory on behalf of NIB, while Union President Frida Cartwright Lewis was the principal signatory on behalf of the union and its members. Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibilities for the National Insurance Board, Miles LaRota, called the successful conclusion to the negotiations a major feat. He said the Davis administration was purposeful in ensuring that negotiations were concluded in the best interest of all parties. Mr. LaRota said the agreement, which is for 5 years, January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2024, addressed some 14 financial articles, among other provisions. We'll take a break here, and we'll be right back after these commercials.